Okay, hello, and welcome everyone to the Chatting with Friends podcast, a show where I, Nassie, sit with my very interesting buddies and we all get to know them better. Today, we're talking with really and truly a pioneer when it comes to content creation for the Marvel Crisis Protocol community. He is the founder slash creator of the Gamers Guild, which we're going to get into that a little bit later, what all that entails. And he is also the organizer and tournament officiant of many of the best competitions that the U.S. has to offer. It is the one and only Nate. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for such a flattering info. If maybe a little overstated in some ways, but I appreciate it.
Oh no! You got to give yourself more credit. You were literally. I mean, I guess admittedly, I didn't look at everybody who made MCP content, but the ones that I did look at, I couldn't find a single one who had made any bit of content before when you made any of yours. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. So first off, bam, icebreaker questions. My
Hit
icebreaker
me.
question this episode is: what's a favorite book that you've read recently?
Recently, I have been reading a series by James. Oh, I'm gonna butcher that last name. Islington, I believe, which is it's a duology, the Hierarchy book series. It's The Will of the Many, and then the second one that just came out is The Strength of the Few, that I've been enjoying. It's not like a top five or maybe even top 10 book series of like all time for me or anything,
Mm,
but it's fun, and he does really well playing with uh, manipulating reality in different ways. So in one of his book series, he did a really good job with time travel stuff. This book series does some other fun things in the sci-fi fantasy realm that's been quite fun.
that's sick. These I'm just looking at the covers of these books, and they look cool as hell. Give me what's if you had to give an elevator pitch of this book, what would it be?
Yeah. Personally, I'm attracted to fantasy novels based kind of like on how thorough their magic system is. I love the in-depth stuff that like gets into a little bit of the nitty-gritty and has like defined laws of how the magic system works. That way, an author can't just pull themselves out of a hole by saying, "And then the magic can do this one other thing."
Yeah.
Uh,
The plot armor of
yeah, the plot
yeah.
armor of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So in this universe, it is very much kind of like a Roman Greek uh, senatorial governing bodies, but you have different classes of people. So you have the octavi, who are your eights, and then septimi for the sevens, and so on and so on.
Oh,
But all of your people who are at eight uh, donate half of their will or your strength, your mental fortitude, like all of that, to the sevens, and then the so each seven I think has four people donating power to the sevens, and then there's four sevens seeding to a six, and on and on. And so as you have more power, or you're higher up in the hierarchy, you get more and more powerful. And so there's machines that are powered by this will and all this other cool applications of it that has been really fun. But so it's in this kind of like fantastical Roman setting where you have senators and conquest of other small provinces and stuff as the Roman Empire expands with a really cool magic system.
man, that sounds cool. It reminds me of have you ever read the series Red Rising?
I have. I did the first trilogy. I have not started the second era of it, I guess.
I have also read the first trilogy, and I got part way through the second portion, and for my taste, it just got a bit. It got a bit too grim dark for me.
Hmm.
The characters like the ones that you're rooting for, they're actively getting punished for being the good guys,
Hmm.
and as soon as something Like the last book that I won or that I read, there was a battle that happened, and it was just like an objectively amazing victory for the good guys. Like everything went correctly, and then immediately after, the most horrific thing happened to one of my favorite characters, and I was like, okay, well, that's it for me.
Yeah,
but the
feel I
but
feel that.
but the first three books, it reminds me a lot of the book that you're describing. It has this hierarchy system, and then this like Roman gladiatorial competition kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would the the first book will read very similar to the initial Red Rising entry. I've got a couple of nitpicky things to poke at the hierarchy book series, as it were, but I can't go too deep into it because I don't maybe some of the nitpicks get resolved in the by the end of the second book. I've got 19 hours left.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's a very enlightened of you. I would, me personally, I'd be nitpicking.
I had my nitpicks at the end of the first book. Mostly just the main character is kind of like the male equivalent of the Mary Sue, where just like anything that the character uh like could be good at, they are good at, but not just good at,
Ah,
they're exceptional at it. And it's just kind of like, a time like one of these times, like it's okay to have him have a flaw that is going to get exposed other than certain like personality, but he just kind of tends to be good at everything, and it's just kind of like, this is a little bit like far fetched at this point, but
yeah,
alas.
yeah, yeah. That's a fair criticism. I think sometimes authors get afraid of putting those kind of flaws in their characters because they really just want you to objectively root for them, and it
Mhm.
takes, I think, a lot of trust in an author before, like, I read a whole bunch of Brandon Sanderson's books before I read that very first Stormlight Archive.
Mhm.
And if I if I hadn't read his previous novels where like I knew he was gonna pull through and something cool was gonna happen, that first Stormlight Archive novel, that shit gets fucking rough, brother. That main character, they put him through the ringer. And
Yeah,
so
Kaladin does not get a an easy walk of life.
no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And then as soon as, anyways, I don't want to spoil nothing, but that could be a whole episode us just gabbing on about that. But not now. Not now. Okay, so that's good. I love that answer. Do you have a favorite book of all time? That's a hard question too.
That's a hard one too. I will cheat a little bit and pivot to probably my favorite series of all time right now, and it even after a few rereads, it's pretty still strong at the top. Is the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks.
Ooh, that sounds very familiar.
It's another hero's journey of the kid who comes from nothing to find himself in the midst of a crazy war turmoil and all that kind of stuff. But it plays on so many different themes really well. Has a very interesting magic system that's all based around color, and each color that you can kind of draft and bring into reality functions differently. So, like, yellow is stronger than the strongest metals, but is very hard to craft. Like, orange is sticky goop stuff. And all of
Ooh.
these different colors that you can bring into the world have different kind of values for how they function in the world, which creates some really cool stuff. But highly recommend the Lightbringer Brent Weeks. Very good.
Man, I love these covers. It's very very old school. You don't really see covers like this much nowadays. But
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool, and I love a good hard magic system with the, yeah. I think I'm in the same boat as you, where I like some solid rules, and I like the main characters to be clever enough to use those solid rules. Okay, all right, good, good. I think that was a good icebreaker. So let's move on now to just getting to know you a little bit better. So we'll go into the gaming stuff in just a moment, but first I'd like to know, some like basic background stuff. Where are you from? Your social security, your mother's maiden name. No, just kidding. Your where you're from, your background that you're comfortable sharing, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. So I grew up in Middle Tennessee in a town called Franklin, city called Franklin, I guess, which is about 30 minutes south of Nashville, and have kind of spent my entire life in or around that area. So, uh, grew up in Franklin, went to college in Nashville at Lipscomb University,
Mm,
got my first job about 30 minutes north of Nashville, and then ended up moving over into kind of the uh, getting my cardinal direction set, the east side of Nashville, uh, where I've been able to start a lovely family, have two kids now, and stuff like that, which have
wonderful.
absolutely kept me busier and all that kind of stuff. But it's a good busy at the same time.
So I'm also from Tennessee is considered the South, correct? Or am I
Yeah,
crazy? Okay,
absolutely.
yeah. I'm originally from South Carolina, and all the time, whenever I tell people that, they tell me that I don't have like a traditional Southern accent. Do you? And I'm not really detecting one in your the way you talk either. Do you get that a lot?
Uh, you know, I I don't often get the "you don't have an accent" comment, but it does. I don't really often get very many people pointing out that I have an accent either.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of a situation. So there's not much commentary on it one way or the other, except for one video. Somebody left a comment about like how sweet my accent was.
Okay.
That was just a moment that I stood out to me, and I showed a couple people, and I'm like, do I have like I don't think I have much of the southern draw on me, but
Right. Right. I do a pretty good froghorn leghorn impersonation, but my I think I'm the same way. I don't know where that came from. Nobody really in my family has a one of those twangs or anything like that either. I say y'all every once in a while. That'll slip out
yeah,
of
but
me.
that's just a word.
Yeah, vernacular for sure, for sure.
No, I think it might be something you find a little bit more common the more rural you get.
Mm.
Growing up around Nashville the entire time, I'm sure influenced that a little bit. But also just not being up in like the mountain range and stuff like that, I'm sure
Oh,
has an impact.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so what about your gaming background? Because what I am finding, the more people I interview, is that unlike me, very few people actually start with MCP. More often than not, people have played one, if not two or three games before they actually got to this particular war game.
Yeah, so I would say I dabbled, like I collected, but didn't really play uh Warhammer, both fantasy and 40K.
Mm.
But that's like in middle school where everything is like if models were expensive today, like think about models in middle
Right?
school and
Yeah.
trying to afford a full army and stuff.
Impossible.
So I dabbled with some high elves and some Tau, but never really actually got like real games in. I never really dug my teeth into a game
Mm.
until a game called the Marvel Universe Miniatures game by Night Models released.
If I'm thinking of the same one, that's the precursor to the Hero Clicks game. Is that correct?
No, it is.
No.
It's produced by or was produced by a company in Spain that apparently had the rights to make models, but didn't have the license from Marvel to make a game.
What?
This is the same company that makes the Batman miniatures game,
Oh,
and some other stuff. And I found out that they had a Marvel game, and I got really into it. I collected every miniature. Unfortunately, nobody in Middle Tennessee really wanted to play with me, so I drove all the way up to Bowling Green, which
wowee.
is like an hour and a half, where they had a semi-active community to get a few games in, and then uh, apparently because of the licensing issues about game versus not game and all that kind of stuff, it just kind of completely shut down. And then about a year and a half later, Marvel Crisis Protocol got announced at Gen Con while I was there, and I've been all in on it ever since.
Okay. So what was it about MCP that drew you to this game as opposed to you know, going back because, you know, by the time MCP comes out, we're both fully adults with fully adult
Yeah,
budgets.
like adult money and
Yeah.
budgets and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing that absolutely brought me into it was the Marvel IP.
Mm.
Just being able to play with the characters at was what was kind of the height of the MCU with the blockbuster movies and all that kind of stuff coming out, and just continued to kind of ride on that same train. And I had actually gone to that Gen Con with kind of the idea and purpose in mind of this is when the new Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars Legion starter set was coming out with the clones and droids.
At the same
And so that,
time?
yep, it was
Oh.
the first release for that era, I guess, of Star Wars Legion. And so I was going to go in, and I think if you look back, one of my first videos was not MCP, but it was like an unboxing at the Airbnb. It was as janky as it possibly could be, of me unboxing a Star Wars Legion set, and that was going to initially be my starting point for content creation because I wanted to get into that with miniatures. And then ultimately, Marvel Crisis Protocol came out, and I was just like, oh, this is game changer for me. I'm going to go all in on that.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what got me into the game as well. Where I've just always been a little Marvel fanboy, and I and then on top of that, I figured out that this game is wicked fun, and there's lots of cool people who also play it, like a really great communities. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
they got my ass good.
Yeah, and then as I kind of found out more about the game, that it only gave me more reason to stay, not just the community, but also the team coming from another company with Privateer Press. But they just had such a solid rule set where things were so clearly defined on the table. There's none of the other like weird line of sight mechanics that you have to argue about or weird, bizarre wording that Games Workshop has constant problems with, seemingly. So,
Mm.
lots of reasons to fall in love with the game.
Yeah. We talk about this a little bit. I guess just a quick plug for previous episodes. I had Thoras on the
Hmm.
show, you know, last episode, and he told us a lot about how cool it was. He basically followed their story, like he read about what developers were doing what and where they were going, and that's what got him into this game as well, is because he knew that the developers that left Privateer Press and went over to AMG to start this new game had a really good head on their shoulders. So
Hmm.
that's what got him into it, which is super cool. I think that's really cool. um okay, so we started to touch on your content creation. So let's jump into there. So you created this. I think it's fair at this point. It's for sure a company. I I think it's because it's got a logo, like a professionally drawn logo. I would call it also a brand. right? You have like merch that you sell. It's like crazy. To at least from the outside looking in. So the Gamers Guild. So what exactly is this? Where did it come from? Why'd you start it? Give me the scoop.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would not necessarily refer to us as a company by any stretch of the imagination or anything like that. There is no merch.
No.
I do
Oh,
have stickers that I'll hand out at conventions and stuff like that. But
oh boy, color me
that's
embarrassed. Then my bad. I thought for sure that you sold T-shirts or something like that. But
no.
I'm getting you
There
mixed up
are
somewhere.
Gamer Guild jerseys for the guys who have been on the cast or do the cast and stuff like that. But that
Mm.
is unfortunately the extent of Gamers Guild merch, as it were. Uh, yeah, so it just kind of started as I knew I wanted to make video content for miniature gaming.
Mm.
And so for a while, I was kind of cooking on like, okay, cool, we're going to do Star Wars Legion. The entry point is going to be this new Clone Wars box because sometimes Gen Con gets an early release. And so I kind of I kicked around different idea of names and stuff like that, and the little taglines and all that kind of stuff. And the logo, I actually ended up my sister drawing for me
Oh, cool.
in putting together because she's got a little bit of that know-how from her college days.
Mm.
So that's kind of where the idea came from, and it just it took off really well at the end of the day from what I was expecting from it. It was uh, an amazing response from the community after posting some of the early videos and getting in on the ground floor of Marvel Crisis Protocol, and just kind of ran from there.
So
The original. Go ahead. Sorry.
okay. Just to back up a step. So it's not a company. It's not. It's not necessarily. I do know that it is a podcast that is regularly published. So is it just a content creator group? Is that how you would describe it, or maybe there's a more accurate
Yeah, I think that would.
phrase?
I think that is. Uh, if there was an easier word to like grasp it, there might be one out there. I wouldn't know it. But yeah, it's just a group of guys at this point who enjoy the game and make content about the game, essentially. Uh,
Okay, cool. And then so that's for sure how it started. And how would you describe, because it has for sure evolved, because I don't believe y'all started off as a podcast. Is that factually is that correct?
Yeah, so it was just me making videos. I would have some friends and local guys over to come play games for battle reports occasionally, and it was really just me doing the YouTube videos for probably 3 or 4 years.
Okay, got it.
So the Gamers Guild, as it were, was really just me and the audience.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then eventually, at the kind of towards the end of a podcast called Turn Zero Gaming, as that kind of wrapped up, Kitty and Josh were a couple of guys who are semi-local to me, but were on that podcast pretty frequently, and I'd been kind of wanting to expand what the Gamers Guild was into the podcasting, so brought them as well as some others into the Gamers Guild podcast side of things, including Shadow Marvel or Matthew,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kenny kind of split off and did his own Shatterpoint thing, which didn't last too terribly long, but that is what it is. I know he's got busy with life and kids and all that kind of stuff as well.
Mm. I think this is a perfect opportunity to give a big shout out to the best podcasting voice in the game, my man Brian Freddy. What a guy.
Yeah, Brian Freddy is absolutely a fantastic pickup who ended up coming in a little bit later on the suggestion of Kenny and Josh because they were doing they had kind of revived their advanced R&D podcast and brought him on as the intern, as it were, and so we got to bring him into the Gamer Guild side as an intern, and I think at this point it is safe to say he is a full fledged member.
Oh yeah, I mean he's on basically every episode now. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So started off with just you, and I'd like to dig into deeper there because what I was saying before was that I personally could not find any other videos out there that were older than your video that was basically, I mean, this is how I uh, and as well as many others learned how to play the game was your video describing a very brief outline of the basic overall rules. So when I say that you are a pioneer in this field, I do mean it. Like in the sense too that not only were you the earliest, but if you look at other content creators that came after you and content creators that are making I would say videos in your same vein of things now today, you can see lots and lots of places where they took inspiration from you, from the way you made thumbnails and the format of like how you arranged things and how you did intros and all this other stuff. So like I think I know that you're gonna try and be humble and maybe I'm squirt maybe I'm laying on too thick, but but I think it's something really cool. It's a person in that position that that came that started doing this basically before everybody else. How does it feel to see all of these other content creators come after you and see all of the different ways that they've been adding to this community?
Man, it is amazing in so many different ways and regards, from the numerous podcasts that have continued to just kind of pop up and talk about the game and different aspects of the game, to the different YouTube channels that are focused on either doing like character reviews and deep dives or
Hmm.
battle reports or fill in the blank. It's awesome because one of the main things, especially as soon as another Marvel license IP kind of came out, was after seeing the death of the Marvel Universe miniatures game. I wanted to. Part of the reason I wanted to make content for it was to make sure that the game continued to live on and prosper, to get the word out there, to make it popular, and uh, to see more and more people not necessarily take up that banner, but are carrying it regardless by continuing to talk about the game and share their experiences with it, is fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I gotta think. I mean, I personally I love consuming MCP content on YouTube, so it's like really great. It was really cool researching for this interview, because I would watch one of yours and then I would scramble over to somebody else's YouTube page and I would watch uh, one of their videos where they would cover the same thing and it was uncanny and it was cool. Like obviously they weren't photocopies of you because they're different people, so it was really cool to see both the inspiration and the evolution of it all. So okay, so here's my next question. So what made you okay, I know that we've covered that you really wanted to add to the community, which is cool and admirable, but what were the inspirations for you to get into content creation, as far as like your style of doing it and your motivation to do it?
Yeah. So as far as the battle report side of thing, I really want to point to Adam from Blackfire Productions, who made a lot of the content that I watched for the previous Marvel game that I mentioned, and then also started making content for Marvel Crisis Protocol as well.
Cool.
But he was a big influence in kind of the things that I liked from his videos and what things I took away from that, and definitely took some of the things that I learned from watching him as well as Ash at Gorilla Miniature Games.
Oh,
Were
yeah, yeah,
were
yeah.
two that absolutely I watched their stuff from previous stuff and kind of took notes and went with that. The review side, uh, I don't know if there's any like but any particular source I can point to other than just you watch a review of so many different kinds of different products and everything else. So either you're watching a review of a video game or maybe a board game,
Mm.
whatever it may be. I feel like at the end of the day, I found the things that I wanted to be able to mention, especially to a newcomer to the game, of like, hey, here is uh, everything spelled out on this character card. Here are some things that this character, if you haven't played the game yet, if you put this character on the table, here's some general directions of what they're going to probably excel at versus flop for. Because you never want a character. It's like, hey, don't try to take Crossbones on a wide secure and have him run around the map because that's just going to end poorly for you. Uh,
There are some maniacs out there that would disagree with you. I played a wide Hydra list just the other day, and my head was spinning because I was there was so many three threats on the front. But I'm sorry, I tried. Please go on.
no, you're good. So that's as far as the review stuff, that's kind of where I took my inspiration. And then recently, though it's been a little bit and not nearly as consistently as I would like, I started adding painting of a model along with a character review, which
Mm.
was kind of fun and a good thing to one keep me voted motivated to be painting my backlog, and also kind of give me a little bit less of a crazy release schedule because at the start it was just making sure I tried to get one out a week no matter what, if not more than that early on, and just kind of learned that that was not going to end up being sustainable for me.
Yeah, 1 out a week is I doing this podcast, I kind of fell on I'm gonna do it on the 1st and the 15th. That seems
Mhm.
totally doable. I know that there are podcasts that do once a week, and Godspeed.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that, but I mean, cool. I'm glad you do because they're the content is entertaining, but couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, brother. So you messaged painting. Who are your painting heroes?
Oh man. So there's really just two that kind of come to mind for me, and that is early Duncan Rhodes
Mm.
from a lot of his Games Workshop tutorials, just kind of reinforcing the too thin coats, don't glop your paint on, and all that kind of stuff. But also between him and then also Sarastro are just fabulous. They're both fabulous painters who are able to take their exceptional experience and skills and dumb it down to for somebody like me who is on a good day a very average painter. Uh, so I would absolutely point to those two as phenomenal teachers of the craft.
Wow. Okay, so I have to look up Sarastro. This is the second time that somebody has mentioned him on this podcast. So I
Yeah,
need to look up. Let me make a note of myself to look up this fella.
yeah, he's awesome and also just a really cool dude. He comes into the states from overseas for Adepticon to help AMG put on a couple of their painting classes as well.
Oh, cool. Man, that's cool. Okay, all right. So I guess I have a couple more questions about content stuff, and then we can move on to talking about Nashcon and all this other stuff, because what a wild thing to comprehend these Jaimungo conventions. But all right, so my one more question about content is that do you have any advice for people who are just starting out? They want to make content with about whatever the thing is that they're really passionate about. What's the advice you would give them to get started and to do it well?
Uh, do it for something one that you enjoy.
Mm.
Uh, Two, find a niche that isn't already heavily covered. So if you're going to get into content creation, find something unique that somebody else is not doing to kind of to find your place in the overall content market. And then the third and maybe the most important is be consistent with your content output. And that one is mostly just from an algorithm perspective of if you're wanting to be recommended to people, even your own subscribers and stuff like that, having a schedule, whatever it may be, is very important to maintain.
Oh, okay. Consistency in schedule of like when you release stuff. Okay, I understand now. Okay, oh, okay. It makes sense because that's the formula that Hollywood has used, for ages now. It's okay, this show comes out on Mondays, or we have a big movie, it's always going to come out in July. That makes a lot of sense. That's such great actionable advice. I'm gonna write it down too. I'm already doing it. The first and the 15th. We're already on the ball, brother.
Yeah, you're on it. You've got it down.
Okay, all right. So Nashcon, Gen Con, Adepticon, these are all Jaimungo competitions that you not only, or I guess to my understanding, you not only help to organize, but you're also a judge, a tournament officiator for all three of these. So tell me what that's like, because I think the only experience I have so far is I held one online tournament for three people, including myself. So I know so little about about what it takes to put on a tournament, um, or TO1, not to mention one of these magnitudes. So what's been your experience? What is it like? Where
Yeah.
did these start?
So first, I want to clarify. Uh, I am a judge for all three of these different events.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Con and Adepticon, though, that is all organized really by AMG and Adepticon staff.
Oh boy,
The
that's strike
and
two for me.
you're good. It's there's a line there that is, especially if you were not to kind of on the inside track, that might could definitely see blurry, but I want to give absolute and full credit to the organizers that put the schedules together for these bigger events and make them the reality that they are, so that hundreds of people are able to come across from the U.S. and even overseas for these events. So, huge shout out to the Adepticon team for the work that they put in,
Mm-hmm.
along with the AMG staff for making those events what they are. Nashcon, I'm able to take a little bit more credit for, of being able to put that together from event schedules and all the other shenanigans with that. But yeah, so Nashcon is a fantastic, smaller historical convention that happens here in Nashville in August.
What do you mean
Uh,
by historical? What does that mean?
it is primarily a convention for historical miniatures games.
Oh, I see.
So kind of like your World War II based games, your like Roman Legion kind of games, your Civil War reenactment games,
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
uh, is kind of the primary. That is what Nashcon is for. And one of our locals here named Grant had a connection with somebody at Nashcon and was like, "Hey, could we host a Marvel event there?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And so this was right after COVID, kind of like on that tail end where we got a little bit of flack because not everybody was masking up and stuff, but everybody was fine,
Mm.
thankfully. But we hosted a nice, like, I think it was 32 player event, and it's just kind of been able to continue to grow from there year after year, to the point where they had to move us to a different room, to the point where we are now just kind of in our own separate area, away from the rest of the convention,
Wow. Wait.
uh, filling up the entire room for Marvel Crisis Protocol,
How,
which has been
how
fantastic.
how many people are you guys up to now?
We have consistently sold out of 64 tickets the past three
Woohoo!
years.
Wow, that's amazing. Holy cripes. Okay, so what is it like being a TO? Because to my understanding, there aren't a lot of you. There's like two, maybe three, right? So what is it like to be a person that's got to scramble around asking all these different questions for 64 people?
Yeah, it is not as crazy as you would think. Thankfully, a lot of the people uh, know what they're doing. They know how the interactions work, and a lot of that is credit again to the really well written rules by the AMG staff, as well as the people like Nagoldar and Thoris and their works on the rules forum to keep everything as straight and narrow as it can be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But
So
yeah, it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so I mean, okay, so it's not as crazy because people know the rules. That's surprising to me. So I mean, to my understanding, being a TO, it's not just about just knowing the rules, right? It's also about being like people coming over and asking you, "Hey, is this in range? Is this not in range?" And so even those types of questions are minimal in a
They're minimal. I would say uh, the average questions for a for Nashcon, at least, we've got 64 people. Uh, the number of questions we would get in an average round is probably uh, no more than 10.
wow, really?
And so you then you spread that out across multiple judges. It becomes
Pretty
very easy to make sure everybody is taken care of without having to necessarily scramble around.
okay, pretty manageable. 10 across, a handful of people. Okay. So here's something else that I am very unclear about. So there are there are competitions that AMG like officially endorses or puts on or something like that, and there are ones that they do not. Can you explain what the difference is between those two things, and like how do you have to like know somebody at AMG to be like, hey, come and give us prizes, or what's the big difference? What how do you get there?
Yeah. So at this point, I would say there are probably four levels of tournaments in regards to AMG.
Mm.
You will have events that have absolutely no AMG affiliation, which is just going to be maybe a guy at the local game store says, "Hey, I want to host an event." They run an event, they have fun. You maybe get like some store credit, stuff like
Hmm.
that. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. They give you a goddamn wooden spoon.
Yeah, if you have a really bad day.
Or if you're new to that's just me because I think the first probably year and a half of me playing this game, I consistently got that wooden spoon every single competition. Okay, but I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
You're good. The second level would probably be what AMG is doing at store level now, where they have official like store tournament kits that'll usually have like some foil cards or some of the acrylic stat cards. I know one from this past year also had like Marvel Crisis Protocol official purple dice
Ooh.
and stuff like that. So there's then the store support level, and then just a couple years ago, they started the Grand Tournament circuit or series, where individuals that either are helping at a convention or maybe have a very large store. In November, you can apply to be a GT from AMG, and AMG will then go through and pick uh, usually around 20 conventions in the States at least for the different game systems.
Oh. Oh. Across not just Marvel Crisis Protocol, but across like I think they make Shatterpoint and like one other one too, don't
Yeah,
they?
they also do Star Wars Legion. So
Right. Okay. Got it.
all three of those will have. This is just kind of ballpark numbers. About 20 to 24 different GTs in the States, and then there will be some in Europe, some in Australia, I believe. Uh, but they're all fantastic, and usually those are going to be your events that are at a convention and are going to be around 32 to 64 players.
Wow. Okay. Got it. Okay. Got it. So how? I mean, that must be pretty fierce competition
Yeah.
in order to get that. So I imagine basically all of the big conventions that people have competitions at, they're a GT, right? Is that like
Not all, but quite a few of them are certainly at this point.
the one in Las Vegas? I think that one is for sure, right?
It so LVO is kind of a weird split of they will have a GT at the Las Vegas Open, or at least they have in the past. But then they will also have their own Las Vegas invitational
Huh.
competition of a 64 player bracketed system. So yes, it kind of LVO kind of sits in both worlds at once,
Well,
which is a cool place for them to be. Uh, but then the fourth level of AMG involvement, to my knowledge at least, is really just Gen Con and Adepticon, maybe PAX Unplugged,
ooh,
and also kind of has a certain level where basically AMG, under the banner of Asmodee, will bring in staff to run an event. And so it's a little bit more directly managed by Atomic Mass Games, uh, in that sense, where Asmodee has more direct oversight.
what is Asmodee?
Asmodee is AMG's parent company.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you know of, oh man, it's gonna let me look it up real quick because there it's a big one. But Asmodee has multiple uh, board game companies kind of under its banner.
Mm,
So like Asmodee produces everything from Catan to Days of Wonder games like Ticket to Ride, as
wow.
well as Fantasy Flight games, which is like Marvel Champions, the new Star Wars Unlimited card game. The list kind of goes on and on. So Asmodee is kind of the parent company for a lot of these smaller uh, gaming companies.
Wow. That's yeah, that's huge. Okay, so is that how AMG got the license to make Marvel stuff is through Asmodee, or am I completely making that up?
Uh, I I think that is a very safe assumption. It's not something like I can confirm because that's going to be behind closed doors level of stuff.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
because Asmodee has the license to also, or rather FFG, which is under that banner, has the license to make the Marvel Champions card game, and have a really good working relationship with Lucasfilm. and Disney, because of other games, like they do a lot of the Star Wars stuff as well. So I would assume it's
Interesting.
kind of through some of those connections with Asmodee that they're able to get that.
Okay, so to my knowledge, Gen Con and Nashcon, they are pretty in terms of just how big the MCP competition is, they're pretty comparable, right? I think they're both 64 player competitions. So what as like a player and as a TO, what do you feel are the differences between the two? Like when it's just AMG that's hanging around and when it's AMG and Asmodee hanging around.
Yeah, from a player perspective, it's probably not too different. It's not like Will Schick is walking around and checking in on games or anything like that. They're busy at a different part of the con because Gen Con is this massive like 70,000 person show in
Wow.
Indianapolis. So they've got so much more to do there. The MCP tournament is actually kind of on the smaller side and is usually closer to the 32 people side, just because there's so much else going on at Gen Con.
Oh, okay.
Whereas NashCon is like a convention with maybe like 500 to 700 people, so it's
Wow.
absolutely dwarfed
Oh,
in size comparison to something like Gen Con, where there because there's not all these other things to go and do. There's a much higher player count for MCP. Uh, but yeah, so I would say for the player experience, it's not too different.
mm.
But from judging at NashCon versus judging at Gen Con, there's definitely some different things, just different responsibilities of what I am directly in charge of at one versus the other.
Interesting. Well, can are you allowed to talk about those kind of things, or is it all hush hush secret things?
There are probably some things that I would be better off not talking about, but if you have any
Mm.
questions, I will happily answer them to the best of my ability.
Interesting, interesting. Ooh, secret stuff. Okay, maybe I'll ask you after the thing. That way we don't run into any awkward silences. Okay, so I mean that's cool. So I've heard though that in terms of prize pool, that something like a Gem Con or an Adepticon can be the prizes can be a little juicier. Has that been your experience, or is that just like, you know, perception?
Yeah, absolutely. So bigger con will have bigger payout essentially, and part of that is AMG is there at the convention, so they have their prize wall where you're going to be able to earn things and get things that you're only going to be able to get at functions that AMG is directly at.
Mm.
So things like the acrylic Gambit card or the range rulers and stuff like that, being able to get those with prize tickets. Whereas at something like Nashcon, which is just a grand tournament, only the top, like you have to take first place in order to be able to get the range rulers, where you have
Oh.
more avenues toward a lot of the stuff if you go at Adepticon or Gen Con and play in the different events to get tickets.
So so when something is a GT, a grand tournament, is is there some sort of like ranking something other that's going on, or is it or does that title just strictly mean, okay, this is an event that's endorsed by AMG and it's got AMG prizes and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's basically what it
Ooh, okay.
means. We have to play by the system and standards that AMG has set for the people hosting a GT. You work with them in that regard.
Okay, and then I did not know that LVO. I thought that LVO was like an AMG thing too, but LVO is from what I gather from your saying, it's a completely separate entity. Is that true?
Yeah, Las Vegas Open, as well as several other events, are put on by a company called Frontline Gaming, which is a big online store, as well as I'm guessing they have a physical store somewhere. But they sell and organize these events, which are just kind of miniature. wargaming conventions, very similar in idea to what Adepticon is, where it's a like Gen Con, you will have a variety of different things. It'll have card games like Magic and Pokemon. It'll have a lot of RPG stuff. It'll have a lot of board game stuff. It'll have some miniature stuff. Conventions like Adepticon and Las Vegas Open are primarily miniature wargaming focused conventions. And
Oh.
so it's LVO is one that is more geared to just do that.
So I know that you wouldn't consider Gamers Guild a company, but something like LVO and Gen Con, those are a company, and those companies specifically deal with putting on these kind of conventions.
Yeah, at this point, those are definitely large enough that they are companies in their own right to be able to put on and organize those shows.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, great. Cool. I mean, I did not know any of that. Okay, so what is it about being a TO that you enjoy so much? What makes you come back every year?
So first was when I initially did the event with Nashcon. This was before Adepticon had reopened its doors post COVID. I just wanted to put on an event to see a lot of these people that I'd been talking with, playing with online and digitally and stuff, because there just wasn't really any of the interaction face to face at these major conventions yet, because it was all COVID times and
Mm.
all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to put on an event to uh, just get people out playing again, kind of start building the excitement for the game. And the opportunity was presented with me by Grant to kind of jump on and do that, and so kind of took it and ran with it. We gathered tables and boards to put enough together for everybody to play, and uh, just kind of ran with it from there. And I found a good enjoyment in being able to be the host and let people go play, have fun, and enjoy themselves.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then so you put it on the first time, and then that was the gateway drug, and so now you're just hooked, huh?
A little bit. I actually the first Adepticon uh, that happened when MCP was out. I did not judge or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't have any of the connections to really at the time. But I got to go and I played in a couple of the I did played in the first ever What If draft,
Mm.
and did pretty well in it. And then I ended up winning the major tournament of 64 players at the first Adepticon, and through that and kind of through the Gamers Guild, actually, I knew the head TO for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and began talking to him a little bit the following year about the opportunity to help judge and do some stuff with them, and ended up just kind of falling in love with the judging side of the event and making sure that everybody else also got to really enjoy the game.
That's wonderful. Okay, so I think we've done enough of a podcast. We've talked about all the things that they want to hear about. Now we get to talk about Gundam. So this is a joy that both you and I share. I have several times now chatted your ear off in the Gamers Guild Discord server about the different models that we're both building. So what are you working on right now? What's your Gundam joys?
I have started, though, at least panel lining a the full mechanics aerial kit, which is the 1/100 scale uh, aerial from which from Mercury, which was the high grade one, was the first one I had ever, the first kit I had ever messed with, built anything. And so getting to come back and do that one at a larger scale is pretty cool, but that has taken a little bit of a backseat, both to just general hobby time of being able to get a few MCP figures cranked out here and there, but also just new dad fatigue of
Mm.
having a newborn and not having as much time to just be able to sit down and paint in the evenings.
Okay, so the way I understand Gundam is that there's like hierarchies, right? In complexity, is where is FM? It's the one right below master grade. Is that true, or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, Full Mechanics, as I understand it, kind of sits in a weird level because you have, for people who are still listening to us talking about all of this, you have your entry grade kits, which are 1/144th scale.
Yeah, and those
So
are wicked fun. If you're like looking to just get into it, those kits are like $20 or something or $30, and they
yeah,
are
you
wicked
can
fun to put
find them
together.
for real cheap. If you have a Hobby Lobby nearby
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and they have 40% off every other week, you can get yourself a kit for $10 just to experiment to see if it's something you want to invest in further.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm lucky enough that I have like a dedicated Gundam store near me, and so I get to go in there and spend too much money. Pretty.
that's that's nice. Uh, I've got. I won't complain though. We've got a couple of our local kind of card and board game stores that also have some Gundam stuff. It's not a huge selection, but
Mm,
I've been able to pick up a kit a time or two from them, which has been
right.
nice.
No, nobody's going hungry over there. And
Yeah.
okay, got it. Um,
So you've got the entry grade, which is very low detail, very low kind of overall complexity. You have high grade, which is kind of like that initial step up, a little bit better quality, same scale, a little bit smaller. And then they have the real grades, which are just very detailed, same smaller scale, but usually will have like decal stickers for you to put on your kit.
mhm.
Much more intricate. It's just the internal structure of the kit, kind of stuff. But then closer to a high grade, as far as like the level of detail, but in a bigger scale is where the full mechanic line kind of ranges, as I understand it.
Oh, okay.
And then from there you go to master grade, which is again that larger 1/100 scale, but has more detailed, better complexity of the moving parts and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, as far as I know, the only other grade, as Bandai has labeled them, is the perfect grade, and those are these like monstrous 1/60th kits
Yeah.
that like are a couple of feet tall, and I can't even imagine that process.
Yeah. I've seen a YouTube video where Adam Savage builds one.
Hmm.
And it just seems, I mean, it seems like a barrel full of monkeys to build, because a lot of, I mean, I guess I don't know about you, but for me personally, the fun of this is the building process, and like watching him, construct the skeleton and fill it out,
Hmm.
and then at the very end, because like a majority of the work in when you're building a Gundam, you don't see much of any of it because it's all on the inside, and there's these huge panel plates that you put on over it, um and like they add to like how you can pose them and stuff like that, but you never see that stuff again. It's all for the process. And the master grades are just chock full of that. It's like every like the head is just a huge process to make, and that's such a tiny portion of the entire model. It's like so cool. I've never done one personally. Have you ever ventured, have you waded that far out into Gundam land?
I have not. I've done a few high grades. I've done the one Dynames master grade,
Mm-hmm.
but I really enjoy the real grades. That level of detail, but also the the fact that they take up a little bit less shelf space
Hmm. Hmm.
for display is really nice because I am limited on how much display space there is. So being able to cram more of these in, but yeah, it absolutely for me personally, it scratches the itch somewhere between uh, miniature painting and Lego assembly.
That's a great way to
Because
put it. Yeah.
yeah, like Lego, if you ever do like really just any Lego kit, there it can be very meditative and just get the thing, put it on the thing,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then painting is something that you're going to be a lot more attention focused, detail, and all that kind of stuff. Uh, but there's also a lot more room margin for error with painting. Is a single brush stroke going awry can just ruin a mood.
Hmm.
This strikes a really nice middle ground of something that's going to hold your attention. You can still listen to an audiobook or a podcast while you're doing it,
Hmm.
uh, but also doesn't a little bit more of that meditative of just pushing little plastic pieces together.
Yeah, I love that you don't have to. There's no gluing involved. That's the best part for me. Or at least by the time that I got into Gundam, there was no gluing involved. I don't know. Maybe that was different for like older models. But like it's just lovely. You cut it out of the little sprues, just like an MCP model. But and you cut off all the little nubs, and then they just click right together, and then at the end of it you have a cool robot. um i I though I don't have the same issue that you have with a lack of um display space. I have a plethora of places where I could put Gundams if I wanted to. The issue that I have, though, is that whenever I put one up somewhere, my cat takes personal offense to it.
Oh yeah, I do not have cats. I just have a puppy dog who, thankfully, does not try to jump up on shelves and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I made a Zoid, and I was so proud of it. It took me forever because I don't really sit down for too long at a time to do these things, so it took me forever to make it. And I was so proud of it. It had all these cool shiny gold pieces to it, and that same day, later on the day, I was in my room and I hear a loud crash, and I'm like, God damn it! And so I made the mistake too of taking the time to put it all back together and put it back up there like an idiot. And the same story about
Rinse,
Ugg.
repeat.
Yeah. So but I've just kind of relegated myself to really just enjoying the making it process, and I don't care too much about them being up on display or anything like that. Um is that so how long have you been into Gundams? You have a lot of them just kind of hanging around?
I've got 9 built,
Mm.
which is both a smaller number than I probably could be given the number of kits that I have. Very much like Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures, there are several that are still just unbuilt in a
Ah,
box
yeah.
in a storage room closet
Yeah.
rather than as it should be. No, I got started into it with the a push from Josh or Merzane,
Hmm.
as he is more known on Discord. It's just something that he really enjoyed, and I had watched some Gundam as a kid, not super religiously or anything
Mm.
like that. But know that I enjoyed kind of the idea of the giant mechas and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's probably one of the reasons I played Tau when I was messing around with 40K way back in the day.
Yeah, it's
Um,
one of those universal truths that big robots are cool.
yeah,
Period. There's
big
no
big
there's no
robot stompy stuff.
yeah. Big
So
robots
I
fighting other big robots fighting like Pacific Rim, fighting giant monsters. I mean, there's what more could you ask for? It's amazing.
yeah. So him and then Nagoldar also actually does Gunpla. So I kind of took the lead from them, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. What should my first kit be? And then I wanted to make sure that like I had an attachment to the thing I was building. So I went and binge watched Witch from Mercury,
Mm.
which I found to be a pretty enjoyable experience.
Mm-hmm,
Not
mm-hmm.
all of the Gundam shows are enjoyable experiences. I can now say after having watched a few more, but enjoyed that. Got the aerial Gundam and kind of had the intention of, hey, I'm going on this vacation that's going to be just kind of chill, relax. So I'm going to get all the tools I need, get the kit, and I'm going to work on it while we're there. It just kind of in our downtime. And I found out I really enjoyed the process and kept doing it.
That's amazing. Have you watched Iron Blooded Orphans?
I have. That is, I I watched the first season of it. I have not watched the second season or second half of the series, I guess.
I think out of all the ones that I've seen, which is admittedly not many, I think that one's my favorite. It's a little more, if you're comparing it to Witch of Mercury, it's a little more it's less intrigue, more like piss and vinegar, because they're all just
Hmm.
like it's very serious and intense. There are very few levity moments, but like it's really cool. I love it. Um,
Yep.
all right, well, I feel like we have made a podcast, buddy. How about you?
Absolutely, man. It
Yeah.
was great to talk about all of the uh, random fun things like books and Gunpla, but also good to. I kind of feel like almost like a history class of some sort for MCP content creation.
Yeah, I think it's just so interesting. That was kind of the motivation to be talking to people like this, is because I would hear little snippets of lore and little stories of how things got started here and there, but I don't actually understand. I just want to know the full story. I want all the gossip. That's basically what this what this podcast is. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time, and I hope you did too. To our audience out there, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to send it to a buddy. I want others. I want, not only do I want the gossip, what is a step more enjoyable than getting gossip is sharing gossip with others. And that's what a true friend is. If your friends are not gossiping with you, then you're probably the one that's not in the group text. That's what I think. That's my hot take. Anyway, so thanks everybody, and thanks Nate once again for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right, bye bye.